Today's video that I have for you guys may be the most valuable video that I've ever posted on YouTube. What we're going to be going over today is my $1 million Instagram strategy. And really, you could call it more like $50 to $100 million Instagram strategy, because what we're going over not only has made me over $1 million with organic dropshipping just from Instagram alone, but it's also the same strategy that I've used to help handfuls of other people generate hundreds of thousands of dollars with organic dropshipping. And in combined revenue of what I've helped other people make with organic dropshipping is really probably close to $10 to $20 million. And that's not including them teaching it to a friend who teaches it to a friend who that friend teaches it to this friend, and so on and so on and so forth. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is where we talk about all things related to making big boy money with organic.
And sorry if I sound a little weird today. I'm just now getting over like a 2-week long sickness.
But essentially what today's video is a leaked lesson from inside of my one-on-one mentorship, which just so happens to be the highest level of coaching that exists within the organic dropshipping space, where we only work with 4, 5, and 6-figure organic dropshippers to help them scale. And this program I'm referring to is where all those crazy screenshots and results in the intro of this video that you saw came from. And this lesson that I'm leaking from that program, and of course us helping them implement this Instagram strategy, is where most of those insane results come from. Now, this lesson that I'm leaking was recorded about a year ago, but around 90% of it still holds true to this day, the exact same strategy. And with this exact same strategy to this day, I still have a random handful of stores that are doing anywhere from 15 to 20K a month completely passively with creators on them. And to make things even better, to make sure that this entire strategy is completely up to date for 2026, as it is currently June 2026, I'm going to be auditing and updating the strategy as the video and lesson plays. So there will be a few random moments throughout the lesson where if something maybe changed a little bit, or there might be a different way of approaching something, that's when I will come in and give the revised version of what that may look like now in June of 2026. Not only that, but this same strategy also works the exact same to a T for Facebook as well. So really, technically, this is the Instagram / Facebook strategy. And the reason this is gonna be so insanely valuable is not only because I go, so in depth on something you will never find anywhere else on YouTube, because I created this Instagram strategy, but also because no matter how you look at it, no matter how you put it, if you want to make long-term big money with organic, you have to be able to hit constantly and consistently with Instagram. And now Facebook is kind of thrown into that as well, as Instagram and Facebook alone generate roughly 80 to 90% of all sales within the organic space. And I know that's some of the biggest struggle for most of you guys out there. You can't get the accounts to hit. When you do get an account to hit, you can only get like one viral video, and you can barely sustain the account. You never find longevity. You never have that super cracked out primed IG you see all these other guys get when they're doing 100K weeks, 100K months. That's what you're gonna learn from this video. This is my most in-depth Instagram strategy video that I've ever created. All the way from the setup of the account, certain settings you should have, how you should be posting, all the way to the actual content strategy itself, text hooks, sounds, the visuals, the whole 9 yards. Then all the way to ending it off with certain things you should and shouldn't be doing, and using certain account examples of where somebody's went wrong and not implemented the strategy correctly, and where somebody's implemented it perfectly, the whole 9 yards, and a handful more of golden nuggets littered throughout the lesson. It has literally been over a year that I have refrained from putting this much information regarding my Instagram strategy on YouTube. So with that being said, the wait is now over. Let's get into it. This is how to make a fuck ton of money consistently with one product, the IG method. Okay, hands down, no matter what, guys, IG is the very, very best platform. It doesn't matter who you are, what you got to say. In terms of consistency, long-term income, and the amount of money that you can make in the shortest amount of time, IG beats everything by far, because of its flywheel. 9 times out of 10, bro, if you have an IG that has a few million view vid, if you do it properly, which you will be able to after I break all this down, and that's kind of what we're going to go over in this lesson. I mean, the momentum you can ride with it very easily by basically just doing the same thing over and over. And all of this is considering you already know it's a banger product. It's converting at least 1K per million views. Bro, if you get just one viral video, that's enough to generate you, in the long term, at least 50K plus from one account, bare minimum. Because if you get one viral video, that's enough for you. That account, I mean, like, it's a 99.9% chance that account is going to go and print out, millions, 50 million plus more views, no matter what, by you just repeating the same steps over and over, which is the strategy I'm going to go over in this lesson. So as you can already see, this is how to make a fuck ton of money consistently with one product. Let's get into it. I got examples, all kinds of good stuff in here. We already went over this. IG is the best platform for dropshipping, just in terms of everything, bro. I'm not saying any of the other platforms are bad, but just in terms of like almost free fucking money, bro. It just takes a good account. Just in terms, it does not fucking, like, guys, it is the best. That's where I made majority of my money. That's where I know all the biggest killers have made majority of their money, because it's the most consistent form of organic drop shipping. Every account I've ever had pop off, I've had 3 or 4 accounts pop off. 1 or 2 of them were with kind of mid-tier products. 2 of them were with nice, amazing products. 1 of them was with one of the most goated products in the entire fucking space, which you all know what it is, and I actually will be using that as an example later, which was Glow Gesture. But I am the fucking IG goblin. And everybody wanted to get on this shit. Oh, it's IG, and everybody started making YouTube videos about it and shit. Bro, I've been the fucking IG goblin before I was even on YouTube. So I know fucking IG better than basically anything else. I mean, I've been viral everywhere else. I made, tens of thousands everywhere else, but I made hundreds and hundreds of thousands from IG. So let's get into it. I'm not going to try to spend too much time on this because this is very technical. And I have already in the course, best way to set up an account, the best success rate you can have, how to, increase your odds of getting a good account. So we're not going to spend too much time on this because we already know, it's basically just a trial and error until you get a good account rolling. But here's kind of positions to be in and stuff I wanted to go over in regards to getting an IG account locked in. If you've ever had an account cook, or if you've never had an account cook, you just got to push through until you do, which I kind of just covered. And that's just by doing everything the best you can, not being erratic, not, trying to make 4 accounts in the same day. A lot of people come to me, they'll be like, dude, I just can't get IG to work. But they're sitting there fucking recreating an account every day, every other day. They're setting them up weird. They're spamming likes and comments and follows the moment they create counts. You got to think of everything. If you're having account issues 9 times out of 10, it's not about what you're not doing. It's about what it is that you are doing, and it's you doing too much. Okay, like 9 times out of 10 on the technical side of things with accounts, whether it's literally on any platform, it's you doing too fucking much. You just got to chill out. Right? You have to think, like, I talk about this all the time. The whole goal of like anything, like warming up accounts, how to set them up and everything like that. In simple terms, it's just you not trying to look like a bot to the platform. You don't want to look spammy. You don't want to look like a malicious character on the platforms, because they have things, securities and AI set up in place to make sure or try to mitigate how much spammy bot shit was going on, right? If they didn't, 90% of all these platforms would just be scams and bots, because, bro, there are people who have systems and shit set up where they can make 1,000 accounts in an hour. Right? That's the type of shit that their AIs and the systems and securities that these platforms have in place. That's what they fucking crack down on, right? So think about it, right? If you're just a normal person, you're not going to be creating 7 accounts in a 2-week fucking span. Now, I give, good guidelines on everything, and, you want to wait at least 24 hours, a 24-hour period, but that's just like bare minimum, right? The longer you can go without creating and deleting accounts, the better. So with that being said, keep that in mind. Everybody that I've gave that to, and even me, when I started really thinking about it like that last year, I mean, I really haven't had much account issues since. So now moving on, let's say you have had an account cook. If you've had at least 1 account cook, you're either going to recycle it or use it as a main account to leech from. So make sure all the accounts you create after that, this is still not a guarantee, but let's say you have a very banger account and it's done crazy, it's performed awesome, millions of views, it's one you've made 50, 100, multiple 6 figures from, whatever, and it has all these views. If you've ever had at least 1 account cook, you either recycle or use it as a main account to leech from. So, like I just said, if it's been a really good account, make sure you're creating accounts based off that. Don't make a new email, new number. It'll give you the option 9 times out of 10, unless you've done it too many times, to, hey, do you want to use this same email or whatever? And you just basically press continue, and all you have to do is create a new username for an account. And once again, it's not a guarantee, but that's definitely gonna, up your odds and increase your chances of success with getting a banger account. And then This is kind of my scenario. Best case scenario, you have a lot of semi-decent accounts to rotate and recycle through from just doing organic for so long. So this is also another reason I tell people, do not just go, like, let's say an account stops performing, don't just go fucking delete it off your account and log out of it and just fucking completely forget about it. I've had 90% of my accounts actually, more towards, when I first started cooking on IG, this wasn't the case, but after I started making so many accounts and trying to get a bunch of accounts locked in, there's plenty of accounts that weren't working. But it's not like I just completely forgot about them and just threw them away. I would keep them on my phone or remember the login. And then when it came time to, now I need to make a new account, run up a new account, whatever, I, test out maybe the oldest one. And it went from, doing 0 views to maybe a couple hundred. Even then, if it didn't work, okay, now it's still on the back burner. I'm trying this or that. But, basically always going back to those accounts because it's really a time thing. The older an account is, the more likely it is to actually start performing. Also, as we all know, aged emails work the best if you're not going to be going through the sort of leeching off of accounts thing, which, by the way, you guys didn't know this, I came up with that sauce. I did. There's a YouTube video. You can go find it on the internet. Or actually, no, it's gone now. But I've been leaked that sauce forever ago in a Discord, one of the biggest organic dropshipping Discords. It's not an organic dropshipping Discord anymore, but OGs fucking know. Ethan Hayes, came up with the aged email, and now people sitting there making YouTube videos about it like they created it. And of course, I don't even think I included that in the course, but yeah, I literally am the one who found out and came up with fucking the aged email shit last year. Now, there's not much to change when it comes to, getting the account locked in, except there's a few updated sort of methods to locking in an account or, priming an account or getting an account that actually performs properly, which two of the main ones that come to mind are the engagement farming method, which I came up with, and then secondly, the niche growth method. Also, another little golden nugget for you guys, which I'm not telling you guys to go out there, buy new phones, and that's going to be 100% success rate, but it is a known method that we discovered maybe 2-ish years ago, that brand new phones, I'm talking not a used phone you buy from somebody, but a brand new phone actually has almost basically a 100% success rate from what we've tested at having at least one primed IG. Most of the time, 2 to 3 of the first accounts you create are going to be very primed, which is just another little thing to add to the account setup part or getting an account locked in. But also those other two things I brought up, the engagement farming method and the niche growth method, I have 2 separate YouTube videos on both of those topics if you want to go check them out some other time, but I highly recommend still locking in on this video and finishing it to the end. Okay, so now, like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on that because I want to get into actually locking in with an account and how, you can sit there and profit long-term a very large amount of money consistently with IG. So now we're past the point of knowing it's a banger product. We're past the point of an account not locked in, okay? So the setup, perfectly aesthetic business account off rip. So it needs to look something like, if I press this, I don't know where it's gonna take me. Okay, that shit fucking sent my ass. I'm sure 90% of you have seen a good IG account, but this is how you want your accounts to be set up. Always, always, always the nice aesthetic, tagline with an emoji tagline. You can even make them look exactly like this, but I always like to add my own twist just because I'm a creative person. Now, these I'm split testing on a newer account now. When I show you Glow Gesture, or for those of you, a majority of you have seen Glow Gesture, it doesn't even have these. It's never needed them. It's printed like crazy without them. And the reason being is because when you start putting these up here, not only is this going to distract the customer from taking that much less time to go and click your website and impulsively buy a product, but also this is just giving them more of a chance to see something they don't like to not convert them. Then at the same time, it could have more of a positive effect by you looking a little bit more professional. But so I'm kind of split testing that now with one of my products. It literally seems like this is actually not what you should do. Just based off of, I've kept it on an account for about a month now, and it literally does seem like it's converting a little less. There's not a crazy amount of data to go off of, but that's just what I have noticed. But not enough data yet for me to go, okay, let's not do it. So you cannot. It's not like it's going to make the world of a difference, but that's just something to keep in mind. But always super nice aesthetic. You make a business account so you see your insights, and that can be any kind of business account. And as always, your logo, do not ever just have a simple text logo. Okay, make the logo look something that's more imagery, so it's not an automatic, oh, this is, a business when they're first viewing a video. And then get the most simple and nice aesthetic username you can. Don't make it fucking, dot the underscore stash dot vault
underscore underscore. Like, don't, whatever you can do to make everything the most aesthetic possible. Okay, now let's get back into the presentation. Okay, now you're going to leave recommend to Facebook on.
Okay, guys, so as it stands now, you no longer have the option of recommending to Facebook or topics on virtually any IG accounts, at least any that we've seen within the last 6 to 8-ish months. So the leave recommended to Facebook on and adding 3 topics is completely irrelevant now. The only other thing that kind of goes into this is sharing to Facebook as well with a Facebook account connected. What relevance that has on how good a video is going to perform on either IG or Facebook, we don't have enough reliable data on. So it's not really part of the strategy because it works just as good either way. So, some Facebook accounts, it performs really good with you connecting it to that account. You get what I'm saying. Some accounts, perform worse. Some accounts perform better when you're posting separately, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, like I said, the whole point of me jumping in now is to let you know that the leave recommend to Facebook on and the 3 topics are completely irrelevant.
So there's a reason behind this. Post your first 9 to 12 vids on main grid and Reels grid. Now, sometimes you don't have the option, right? We talk about this all the time. That's something Instagram themselves are split testing with the amount of options it gives you, like whether it's going to give you main grid and Reels grid, whether it's going to give you topics, whether it's going to give you recommend to Facebook. I've had accounts that give you none. I've had accounts that give you some. I've had accounts that give you all of those options, but it just depends. But this is, all of this is just going into if it does have these options. So post your first 9 to 12 vids on main grid and Reels grid. After that, switch to Reels grid only. This is because Reels grid only normally leads to much better engagement, much better just performance overall for the account, but you don't want people coming to your account and not seeing any posts. So this 9 to 12, it fills up that first layer of just posts where it doesn't look like, because imagine, let's say you've done 50 videos and you're cooking and you have 20,000 plus followers, but somebody comes over and you only have 2 to 3 videos as actual posts, and that's the first thing they see when they go to your account. It's going to look sus, it's going to look, and so, if you didn't know, the more followers and the more activity your account has, the longer it's been open, the better that looks to the consumer, right? It gives them a lot more trust, converts better. So it's just a snowball effect. The more and the longer you can get in a product cooking, the more the better it's going to convert per million views, everything, because, I want you to imagine, right? You pull up on an online store that in your eyes is brand new. You're going to be like, oh, is this a scam? I don't know. It doesn't look like a lot of people have bought from them. They don't have a lot of followers. Maybe they do have a lot of followers, but they haven't been posting that long. It's still kind of fishy. Compared to an account, you can go look through their shit and they've been posting for a year or two, and they have a year or two worth of posts, 80, 100,000 followers. You're going to trust them 10 times more. That's going to lead to conversions in all aspects with views on your website, everything. So that's the reasoning behind the 9 to 12 vids on main grid and Reels grid first, and then you can do the rest switching to Reels grid only, because it does make your account perform better with the Reels grid only. Now, once you realize the account is good, you will hunker down on finding your accounts and winning video formats, which is what we are moving on to here. How to find winning vid formats. You're almost going to basically throw out everything you know about organic. Treat this like a whole different thing almost. Okay, especially if you want to get into, or you end up getting into maining IG. Best way to go about this, if you're not very basically on my level, which none of you are, I don't mean that egotistically, but until you're to a point to where you can make decisions on your there's zero urgency, there's nothing, you can literally, you choose what the fuck you want to do, because you make money from the space, from multiple products on multiple different platforms. Really, the best thing that's going to happen for you is when you can decide to main IG, you're already posting on all the platforms anyway, but then you notice an account is cooking for that product on IG. Then the moment you notice you have a primed account, which you all know what that means, I've been over it a trillion times, what makes a good IG account and how you know it's going to perform well, then you can shift your full focus onto this strategy right here, and which you should, honestly. You really should. If you're posting everywhere and every platform is getting kind of the same results, and then you end up realizing your IG account is performing well, you should automatically switch to this strategy, because it don't matter if TikTok ends up doing just as good as IG or whatnot. You're gonna make the most and be able to capitalize the most from IG. So it just makes the most sense.
This randomly just came to mind while watching, so I'm just kind of popping in real quick just so I don't lose it and then forget what I was gonna say. But regarding what I just went over with, making sure you switch to whatever platform is hitting the hardest, when it also comes to Facebook and IG, you're going to approach it the same way. And this is how you really should approach everything when it comes to hitting on a random platform. Whichever platform you end up hitting on, and especially between Facebook and IG, you just put all your content strategy focus on that platform. So let's just say, of course, our goal is to hit IG and Facebook because these are the two big daddy money printers and they have the most longevity. So let's say your Facebook ends up hitting. You're going to not do the content strategy for IG. You're going to do the content strategy for Facebook and vice versa. 9 times out of 10 with Facebook and IG being so closely related and both being meta, a lot of the time, once one hits, if the other one's even slightly primed, it ends up hitting at some point in time. But it's not always at the same time, and sometimes it's never. But really, you just always want to make sure you're constantly focusing your content strategy on the platform that is kind of seeming the most promising. Or, of course, if it gets a viral video, et cetera, et cetera.
The moment you realize you can, main IG. So when it gets to that point, or you're in a position like me where you can literally just say, hey, I'm going to run a product and only fucking post on IG because I know I have an IG account that's cooking, you're going to switch to this. So once again, almost throw out basically every other strategy and think of this as a whole separate thing. The first week or two of you posting on there and you maining IG, whether it's you going out of your way to start just on IG or, like I just said, you notice IG's cooking, you're going to be testing sound and hook combos, but with IG style content. I'm a fucking idiot. I forgot to throw an example up here, but that's, your super dumb, simple concepts. That's, babe, have you seen my credit card? Stupid, simple hooks. Like the one that does really well on IG and I have all of these hooks in the winning hooks part in the Discord, but the one where it's like, POV, you have adult money now and discover the most genius invention ever. These kind of just super stupid generic dropshippy vibe styles, these hooks, that's IG style, okay? That's what you're gonna be doing on here. And that's what you're gonna be looking out for. So basically a little opposite of what you would normally do on every other platform.
So just to hop in here really quick and kind of expand on this note in terms of like starting sort of the account or starting your kind of journey of trying to find your winning formats, et cetera, et cetera. And I really should have included this in this lesson, but it's going to be just overall content research. So that's niche research and competitor research. So for a few examples of what I mean is, when you first are trying to come up with what sounds are you going to use, what's the visual you're going to use, what's the text hook you're going to use, you can find all of these assets not only from your current competitor that's actively going viral, but where it really gets good and where you really start finding really good assets that just so happen to work for your specific account. Because what you'll notice as I talk about in this lesson is, this entire strategy, it's very specific to your product, your account. Certain accounts like certain sounds, it may perform really well for one of your competitors, one sound will, but it does horrible for you, etc. etc. So all you're trying to do is basically just figure out what has the highest probability of doing well for you and testing more of that. So some great things that you should be doing are not only going to your competitors just to get kind of a rough vibe of what you could be doing visually and maybe using some of their text hooks to test off rip, using some of their audios to test off rip, but then going and finding other people that are running other products that are within the same vibe as yours is kind of the best way I could word it. So, like if you're running a gimmicky product, going and finding 2 to 3 people that have really good performing accounts that are running a gimmicky product, or maybe an alcohol related product. If you're running an alcohol related product, you would go find 2 to 3 competitors that are running that same product, or 2 to 3 separate products that are within that same niche, because a lot of the time their winning audios can be your winning audios. Their winning text hooks can be your winning text hooks. You can even start stealing their visuals and visual hooks, so on and so forth. So that's really what you should be doing instead of just testing, your basic OG IG text hooks, which you should really be expanding and doing really good content research along the lines of what I just explained, and that will give you more than enough of an arsenal to be able to get through this process.
Now, notice how I said sound and hook combos. So really the first layer is finding a very simple format of clips or 2 to use as your base. You have to understand, Instagram loves simplicity. This is also something I don't think I added because I'm a dumbass. But none of your IG videos, once you get this strategy locked in, all of your videos will be 8 to 12 seconds max. Every single one of them. And your basic concept as well. 9 times out of 10, it's just a use case. Your clips. So just showing what the product does with a nice few couple clips, 0.5 to 1 second clips, showing what the product does with a nice background. Like that is literally like we can go through fucking half of the fucking, some people get away with just, posting on IG all the other content they normally post and it cooks. But really maining IG, really cooking on IG, really going with the strategy, it's Instagram specific styles. So that's going to be either some sort of little unboxing or just a use case. So a very, very simple. I mean, like 9 times out of 10, if you're cooking on IG, you got like fucking 30 minutes a day per product of actual work you got to put in because the concepts are so simple. That's how you should start each one. Don't overcomplicate that part.
When you find the winning like sounds and everything, how do you avoid like spamming the same content?
So I'm going to get to that later on in the presentation. But great question. So after and this isn't even really finding like your basic, that's why I kind of left it second, because really what you're trying to find is your hook and sound combo. But your actual just basic clips and videos, guys, like that, it almost doesn't even matter as long as you're just showing the use case of the product. And you have all the basics down and they're just nice clips, 8 to 12 seconds long, because you can get away with just about fucking anything as long as you're just showing the product and the product is good. Because really what we're looking for is finding that hook and sound combo. So as I have here, test hook and sound combination, and you're going to find one or two. So like maybe, like Glow Gesture, for example, there were 2 different kind of concepts and I ended up dialing in on one, in which everything I'm saying is going to like all make sense as I get towards the end of the presentation. But I could have done one concept, like for example, like let's like Glow Gesture. It's only winning concept that I dialed in on, and that's the only one I have to use now. Clips wise, is just me walking up to it, opening the box, putting it on the car, lighting it up, and then lighting it up on the window, and then showing me press the button on it. Another concept was it starting in the car. Still simple as fuck, but maybe me putting it on the car, and now a new winning concept we're trying for it is starting outside on the car, right? So but it doesn't matter really what we're doing. We're just trying to show the fucking product. If it's a good enough product, the clips don't matter. You're just showing the product, you have the basics down, lighting, clips, all that good stuff. Really, you're looking for that winning hook and sound combo. So then you're going to dial in on 2 to 3 winning hooks and 2 to 3 winning sounds. Now, when I say winning hooks and winning sounds and these winning combos, it does not have to be you found one that goes and makes 1 million views a video. It's really you noticing after you're trying all these different combos, which one's performing the best. Okay, because this is also a repetition sort of thing and a little bit of a volume thing. Not decreasing quality or trying to pump out 30 videos a day, but you will get to a point to where you have the winning sound, you have the winning concept, or the winning sound, winning concept, and winning hook, but it's not popping off yet. But it will pop off if you just keep doing it, which I'm going to get into in a minute. You're going to test this for 5 to 7 days. Now, let's say every video you're posting is getting around the same 1,000, 2,000 views. What would be considered winning is the outlier. So that combo that you find does 5,000 or 10,000 views when you post it. Now you have found one winning hook and sound combo. You're going to keep repeating this process until you find 2 to 3. Okay, really, the goal is 3.
So guys, really quick before we move on to that next portion of the strategy, there's 2 things I wanted to kind of go over that should have been included in the previous sort of chapter or part of the lesson. Firstly, it's going to be testing and testing time. 5 to 7 days still stands, but I don't want you guys to take kind of that and then go and, run a product or be trying to implement the IG strategy for a product for 3 months. Still stay strict. Like if a product's not showing you anything after 2 to 3 weeks, just move on, like the actual product or account itself, so on and so forth, and still be at this very quick execution rate like I always talk about and I always refer to, while still trying to optimally test for all these different combinations in the content strategy itself. So it still stands. I just want to make sure you don't take that too far and you end up wasting a bunch of time by testing a product too long. Of course, there's a bunch of nuance to that. I've actually made an entire YouTube video on it. I'll have the editor pop that up somewhere if you also want to go hunt that YouTube video down after you get done watching this video. But essentially, it's going to be a lot of your own intuition as you start to see things unfold. If they're kind of looking like things are getting better, we're getting more views, of course, keep prolonging the testing of the product and the testing of the concepts. If they're getting worse, of course, move on with this 5 to 7 day sort of trial period per the actual concepts. But, if it's 2 to 3 weeks down the road or it's been like 2 weeks since the last time you saw something promising coming out of the actual content strategy, then at that point, it's time to just move on from the product as a whole. This is a really gray area. My main point is just, I don't want you to take what I just went over and force yourself in a position where you're taking way too long on a product that you should already be dropping. Now, outside of that, another thing I wish I would have added to this part of the lesson, it still mattered, around a year ago, and it still matters now, are captions. Same thing as the winning text hooks, same thing as the winning audios. If you notice you have a specific caption or a specific few captions that perform really well on your account, whether it's specific emojis you're using in your captions, the exact same wording plus emojis plus hashtags, or when you use specific hashtags but the captions don't matter. These are all the little details that you should really pay attention to, and when they noticeably work really well, you should continue to implement those, no different than a really good performing text hook. And a lot of the time what you'll notice is most of the time like a text hook will have like its sort of winning caption pair. So that's another thing you should be looking out for. So main point I'm trying to get across with this part is pay attention to your captions, because they're just as much of an asset you need to be utilizing as a text hook or a sound.
So now we're going to go over monitoring and controlling the account after something does occur. Yeah, I could agree with that, Nico, for sure. Really what I was trying to get across is when I say winning combos, I'm not meaning, it has to go viral, right? That's not what I'm meaning. So like you could even use what Nico just said as example for as well. That's an outlier, right? Like let's say everything's doing the same amount of views, but one of them ends up getting double the comments, triple the comments, double the likes, triple the like. That's an outlier. Now you can hone in on that one a little bit more and realize it's better than others. You need to find basically throughout all of your testing those, 3 outliers from your sound and hook combo that stick out the most and then double down on them. Now, once this occurs, if working and sales and views and sales are performing good, let's first start with just like views. I should have worded this differently. If views are doing good and, all of those are still starting to perform better than like what you were at previously, let's say when you were testing everything, you're at 1,000 to 2,000 views. Now everything's at like 5,000 to 10,000 views. You're just going to hunker down and keep posting those same things. Now, let's say you just get lucky off rip. Okay, then you're just going to be printing fucking bread and you're going to stay consistent with posting with minimal variations and continue to print fucking bread. But let's say you're not getting blessed with insane views yet, but you still have all of those sort of the winning combos locked in. You're going to be doing the same thing just without printing the bread yet. Now, every few days you're going to test a new hook/sound combo. If one of the previous stop performing or you notice, 1 out of the 3 performs a lot worse than the others, that gives you room for more testing, more split testing. I'm going to get into this later as well at the end of the presentation. You don't want to be doing too much, okay? You want to, as quickly as you can, lock in on, the perfect combination of the hook and sound with, the 1 or 2 basics of the video style you're doing that should only be 8 to 12 seconds long, max, and staying consistent with it to see what happens. Really what it is like testing concepts, but instead of just posting and testing it once or twice, you're testing it, with 5 to 10 posts each, 10 to 20 posts each over the course of, days. So then I have here, this is really after sales start performing good because this only happens like I have here, every banger viral vid, repost it around 2 to 3 days later. This is only going to happen. Like you're going to be making sales already if this is happening. You're already going to be going viral. So we're going to be past the part of you not printing fucking bread yet. So you'll be printing bread by the time you get to this stage. But every 2 to 3 days, it used to be like literally you could repost one of your viral videos every fucking day. But they're kind of cracking down on it a little bit more now, I've noticed. They don't really like it as much, the constant reposting. But I still think it's 100% viable, and you still are going to get a crazy amount of views by reposting a very viral vid every 2 to 3 days. You could even make it 4-ish days. No matter what, it's going to perform good. It almost dwindles down every time. I'll post, a video, banger viral video to do 3 to 5 million views. Next time I post it, it'll perform better than a lot of my other videos. If another video hasn't went viral again yet, but it'll do maybe 1 million or 1.5 million views. And then I post that same video again 2 to 3 days later and it does a few 100,000 views, right? And that kind of ends up how it kind of plays out, really.
Something I wanted to touch base with when it comes to reposting, because like things kind of have changed. It's always in a limbo with IG. Like sometimes they'll go through phases where it's like everybody's reposting all the time and everybody's ripping. And then it'll go through phases where it's like, you repost a few times and accounts are getting taken down. But currently as it stands, really how things are working is reposting your most viral video every 2 to 3 days is definitely still meta. If anything, it actually works better now than what I was talking about in the lesson where I was like, they're cracking down on it. They're not liking it as much, but it's actually working even better now. It's kind of back to what it was, when this was originally the meta. So still reposting your most viral video, or like, let's say you have 2 or 3 viral videos. You can just put those on a loop every 3 days. Let's say you're posting 3 times a day. You just replace your 3rd video of the day with a reposted video. And when I say reposted, I'm meaning going straight into your camera roll and using the exact video that you originally posted that ended up going viral. And then of course, using the same caption that was on that viral video. Also, since that randomly just came to mind, and I didn't include it in this lesson, every single time when it comes to captions, when it's me saying caption is actually what sparked my motive to say this, but every single time you have a viral video, it's actually really wise to, every time, I would say 1 million views is really a good threshold to change your caption to a CTA. So instead of just leaving your caption, of course you do a really good CTA comment, which don't be that guy that's using the super scammy looking GIFs that say link in bio. Do a really good thought out, good copy with a good emoji or 2 that's brand fitting, maybe even adding, your 40% off deal, whatever it may be, as your CTA that you pin. And then of course, also pin a CTA reply to a customer. Both of those pinned. And then once you pass that million view threshold, change your caption to a CTA similar to the CTA you have as your comment CTA. This way you're maximizing conversions from views to actual visitors to your website. And the reason I say wait until around 1 million views, you can do it before that. It's just a little riskier. I just like to say wait until the video's done at least 1 million views. That way you know for sure it's not gonna affect the video at all, because it does seem like there has been moments where I and even guys I'm coaching will do it after a video does like 200,000 or 300,000 views, and then it seems to die down. There's no perfect, great, like direct correlation data to prove it. It's just a hunch, which is why I'm saying wait until like that 1 million threshold. Now, even outside of CTA, sorry, that just randomly came to mind. If I didn't say it right then, I would have totally forgot. But another thing I wanted to add when it comes to reposting is a lot of guys are getting away with reposting a lot right now, which is kind of the meta. Just understand it this way. In a perfect world, you would never have to repost in your life. Just every now and again, some accounts get lucky by being able to be lazy and not have to put in as much effort, and they get away with reposting or reusing clips from their account. Now, there's two caveats to this, really mainly one caveat, but one other thing I have to say on it. First caveat is this really only is going to work and is only worth chancing it if you have a really good, strong account. Like if you're, super prime, you're blasting, a few million view videos. Every video is like this super prime state, the 50K views, 100K views. You've done millions and millions of views. Your account is super strong and still kind of up on this uptrend. That's when it makes the most sense and you get away with the most by reusing your visual hook, or maybe you're doing something that's in public and you can just reuse some of your hooks from one video, and maybe you can just reuse some of like 2 clips from the end of one video and reorganize them, etc., etc. So no matter what, I think it's still never smart to just be reposting your own videos one of one outside of the, super viral videos every 2 to 3 days. But if you have a super strong account that's performing really well, it is okay to be reusing some clips just to save you time, and maybe sometimes just to save you a lot of effort if it's something like, clips in public or clips that are really hard to get. But the only other thing I want you to keep in mind when doing this is if at any point in time your account starts shitting the bed, not doing good, and starts performing really weird. I'm not just meaning that one random video here and there, but like you go a few days and you're like, oh my gosh, my views are noticeably down. Immediately stop reposting and just go back to refilming one of one, the exact same videos. Because 9 times out of 10, once you are trying to repost a lot, if you have account issues, it's gonna be because of the reposting. Because like I said, in a perfect world, we would never repost anything at all and we would refilm every single video.
Now, if it's not working and things are stagnant, meaning like you've already went and found your hook and sound combo, and it's been like roughly a week, and you're not seeing any change, you don't even have at least one concept that you notice is starting to bang, you're just going to repeat this process. Basically, that's what it is. This is the split testing that you're doing, these two steps, until you come to this conclusion.
Now, going back to what I said previously on the other part of this lesson where I was like, don't hold on to an account too long. The caveat I should have mentioned for that is if you have an account that's produced you a good amount of sales, or you've had a viral video or 2 on it, that is not the same as, trying to test a product or testing a product too long that's made you nothing. At that point, especially knowing the Instagram strategy, how good it works, and now you know how to implement it, at least for the most part, it's definitely worth it to keep pushing that instead of just immediately, I'm going to go on to the next product. Because with you knowing the IG strat now, you have a much higher probability of getting it to work again. And for the most part, you'll always have a higher probability of getting an account that's already worked in the past to work and hit again than, just starting a whole new product. So if you've already seen some traction on the account, it's okay for you to really push it a few weeks or a few months going back and forth with what I'm explaining now.
So it's just split testing back and forth on these 2 phases until you start to at least notice one concept hitting. And then after that, instead of when you come back to this phase, you're trying to test 3 different things, you're going to be testing 2 different things. And then really it's just literally honing in until you get those 3 banger concepts, which really end up being one video style that's exactly the same and around 3 to 4 hooks. Honestly, like the longer you do this, you'll get more and more winning hooks. And then like, let's say a hook starts dying, you come back and try it again after 3 weeks. and it starts performing good again. I've seen that over and over as well. So really you end up with like a fucking just a plethora of winning hooks that you just continuously cycle through. So you don't even end up going back to this phase. You just really go back into the chest of hooks and sounds, right? After we've done this, now let's say everything is locked in. And really, let me finish that off by saying you're going to end up with one video that does really well, and that can last you fucking literally like a year, bro. Like literally like 6 to 8 months to a fucking year, literally. One video style with one video concept that you have cooking that you repeat over and over and over again, with the combination of the full chest that you have of winning hook and sound combos. That's what this is going to end up being. Example of this account, and I just randomly picked an account, guys. This is every fucking IG account. A winning fucking video that he repeats the same thing over. He's throwing in new products I don't recommend, and we're going to get to why here in a minute. He just repeats the same video over and over and over again. And as you can see, all of these are really good views. His account is starting to do dog shit now. And I'm also going to get to, I don't have that down, but I'm going to tell you guys what to do when this starts happening. But what he's doing, he's being too erratic. Once again, I'm getting to this like we're jumping ahead, but he's getting too erratic. He's testing way too much instead of sticking with what's working. That's why his shit is so just 10K, 15K views. Normally this should be, 20 to 50K views minimum with your random 100, few hundred thousand, random millions. Okay. That's what a really locked in IG account is going to look like once you would put this strategy into place. But I'm going to get to this in a second, why this isn't doing that. But this, it's still a good example, especially earlier on the account. He found a few winning sounds and hooks and kept going with it. How to prepare the perfect candy. So he's always including candy, but it's still just the same format. Boom, boom, boom. Fuck it. Here you go, boys, because I love you guys. I'll expose one of my accounts here. So this is an account I have a creator on. This is what I wanted to refrain from, but I thought that guy would be able to execute an account properly, but he fucking couldn't. So, yes, this is my account. This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is one of my IG accounts. This is actually a store I'm probably about to exit. I have a creator on this, and I'm going to get to that also later on in the presentation. So, as you can see here, we have like a chest of, I would probably say, about 6 winning hooks, but the same video concept. We never have to change. And it works every single fucking time. Every single time. Look at these views, right? Just consistently on average, 30K plus views, 100,000 view vid every 4 to 5 videos, 1 million plus view vid, in the midst of those as well. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Literally, it's just exactly the same fucking movement over and over and over again. Now, when the account starts to perform weird, when you have everything locked in, you have your chest of sound and hook combos, everything is running smoothly, but then you notice a big dip in views, change your background. Do the exact same thing you're doing, just change the background of your video. Maybe change a color, change the location, but make sure you're not changing the vibe. And that's really the best thing to do in these situations. And 9 times out of 10, then you just add that to your chest of combos. So now you notice, okay, I changed the background after shit started doing bad. Now this background with this hook, with this sound, performs like a monster. Bang, that's one of your 3 videos you're posting for the day. And once again, it's just a constantly evolving thing. Something starts to perform a little bad, you test a little bit more, and you guys get my gist, okay? That is a perfect primed IG account. That account makes bare minimum 10K a month. And now that I have a creator on it, that's roughly like 6-ish K a month for me, net profit, completely passive. Okay, which I'm going to get into that right now. First, so here's some final notes. Do not fuck up your account by doing erratic shit. Okay, this is kind of what I was just talking about with the other puff tray guy. Okay, he is doing too much. He's changing way too much every single video. Okay, now this is also something that has been hypothesized. I've noticed this myself. When you go in, and it was actually Austin who I talked about this with. This happened to him. And we both agreed, like, yeah, it seems to be this way. He had an account. I'm pretty sure it was the Puff Tray account, actually. But that wasn't his account. But when he was running that tray, he was, he locked in this exact strategy, right? Because, like, this is the IG strategy. He locked in with it. But then, horrible advice from someone else, he started changing shit up. He had everything locked in and then tried an 11 Labs style video. And then tried a voiceover video. And then tried a fucking CapCut voiceover video with random text. And boom. Account fucking died, fizzled out, started doing dog shit. He could I don't know if he recovered it or not, but at the time of us talking about that less than a month ago, it still never recovered to what it was doing. It went from how you just saw my account performing to like almost every vid just getting a few thousand views. So do not do erratic shit. And the reason that this is hypothesized, my hypothesis, is because Instagram is a very simple platform. They love seeing the same thing over and over and over. They do not like seeing a creator change their brand or niche. Remember, in the eyes of these platforms, you are a creator. That's how you're like, even though deep down they know, that's how you want to seem to their algorithm, their AI, their shit that they have set up in place. You want to seem like a person creating content on their platforms. That's what they're made for. They want creators. Okay, that is what social media is made for. So it seems as if the reason that this is because they don't like seeing creators change kind of what they're bringing to their audience, right? Like imagine you're a creator that's doing cooking and then you start posting shit about anime. They don't want to see shit like that, right? Because now you have this huge following that you're feeding content to that they aren't interested in. Does that make sense? That's the hypothesis behind that.
Now, regarding that hypothesis I had around a year ago, there's a bunch of nuance to it. It still makes sense, but I don't want you to take it the wrong way. Because, I'm assuming if you hear that, you're wondering or thinking, okay, then you can't switch a random product to a primed account that's irrelevant of the niche or, that's outside of that product's niche. But you can. Really, the only way that you should be thinking about, and I'm only saying this because I know that's probably the first thing that came to mind once I kind of explained that hypothesis, but understand it this way, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard me say this. You can recycle any product to any niche account. It does not matter at all. Just understand you have a much higher probability of that account continuing to perform as good as it was before the switch if the product is within the same niche as it was previously. But it is still 100% possible, and there are guys that do it every single day. I've done it with handfuls of products and accounts to, put a product on an account that has literally even being completely bipolar opposite of the niche or type of product that it was beforehand.
Now, next thing. Quit blaming accounts so much. If the account is consistently doing a few thousand views, you are the problem. Test better. Do more. Fix your shit. Make better content. Now, here's my secret sauce that I've been kind of hinting at towards this, throughout this entire presentation. Not only once you have this system locked in, will you be able to print for months and years, but this is most optimal to turn into a literal passive business by throwing a creator on it because there is no chance of human error. They simply just repeat the very simple few video concepts in the chest you have, like Puff Tray, for example, the account I just showed you guys. That is completely passive. It just did like 12K last month. Although that doesn't seem like much, but it would probably be a lot more, but we had some struggles transferring accounts. I stopped posting, then it was whatever. It could probably be at 20K a month. And that'd be at 12K net on just that one store, completely passive, just by implementing the strategy, staying consistent, knowing what the fuck I'm doing, and not veering too far off path and throwing a creator on it. So not only now do you have a completely passive business where all you do is press the pay button to the supplier with, but it's also a lot more exitable. So then you can, like this store right here, I'm trying to exit right now, hopefully within the next month, exiting for 30,000. So passive, 5 to 10K a month net for me, and then a $30,000 exit just from this strategy. Now, that doesn't sound like much. Okay, 5 to 10K net, whatever. Yeah, whatever. But imagine you have 3 or 4 accounts locked in like that, right? Which is kind of my situation. One of them kind of died down, but I have 2 other accounts performing like that. I'm about to show you guys another one of those accounts right here. This is Glow Gesture. This motherfucker still prints to this day. It also did 10K last month, okay? It's also completely passive for me. Now going into Q4, I guarantee you, throughout Q4, these are going to be doing, I think Glow Gesture will do 50K a month minimum every month of Q4. The other one is 20K a month minimum until it's sold. And these are completely passive for me. I locked in with the few hooks in the chest with a few winning sounds, and this one winning video concept, it's just repeated over and over and over again. Fucking simple as. That is the IG method to printing a fuck ton of money off one product for a very long time. That concludes today's lesson.
Now, guys, the only difference between you and all those insane results that I showed at the beginning of this video and all the results that are popping up on screen now from the students inside of PerMill's advanced program is that instead of like you only getting to see this video and then left to try and implement it on your own, they have us day to day helping them implement this strategy for every single product they run and every single account they have. Because as amazing as this strategy is and will be extremely helpful for a lot of you watching it, it really depends a lot on you yourself and the product you're running, the account you're running. It's very specific for what you are actively doing. what your account may like, what your account may not like. All of these other sort of nuances when it comes to implementing this that you just simply don't know. And that's why if you've made it to the point of this video, I now want to offer you the chance to be able to join my one-on-one mentorship that's known as Per Mills Advanced Program, where we take on and help 4, 5, and 6-figure organic dropshippers that are actively trying to make more money with organic. And we help you finally get there. We help you get to a point to where you're no longer in this constant limbo of maybe one good month here, a bad month next month, or you popped off 1 or 2 times and it's been a while since you've popped off again. And we help you turn organic into an actual consistent business. We implement teams and systems for you and give you all of our connections by your group of coaches that's literally a team of some of the best organic dropshippers in the space, majority of them consisting of 7-figure organic dropshippers. And not only we're implementing all these teams for you and giving you all of our resources as you scale and hands-on helping you implement all of these crazy strategies like the Instagram strategy we just went over, but we're also hand-picking guaranteed winning products for you weekly. And yes, you're hearing me correctly. That means every single product that you run, if you're working with us and you're getting coached by us, is guaranteed to convert at whatever I tell you it converts at. So all we do is basically just remove all the questions, all the nuance, all these little random things you may not know, all these little tiny decisions that are slowly making you less and less money or slowly keeping you from making more money. And we remove all that. And we put you in a position to where you know that every single team you implement for your business, every single product that you run, every single content strategy that you're doing is the right one every single time you do it. And me saying we're the highest level of coaching that exists within the organic space is not just some fancy term I use. Our average result time period is 2 to 3 months, and our average result is 6 figures in additional revenue. A lot of those results being 6-figure weeks and 6-figure months. So if you're a 4 or 5 or 6-figure organic dropshipper and you're ready to start finally making big boy money with organic, I'm going to leave a link down below in the description of this video. Once you click on that link, it's going to send you to an application just to make sure you even qualify to join the program, because like I said, we only work with 4, 5, and 6-figure organic dropshippers. You have to be involved in organic dropshipping. You have to be an active organic dropshipper. We don't accept complete beginners that don't know what the business model is. But after you fill out that application, you'll have 2 options. You can either book a one-on-one call with me personally, not some random sales guy. Me personally, I talk with every single student that's ever been inside the program before they get in the program. Or the second option you have is to literally be able to message my personal phone number. And from there, whether you book a call with me or messaging is more your thing, we'll basically be able to see how I may be able to help you, if I'm even able to help you. And if I am, from there, we get you inside the program. But outside of that, like I said, that link is down below in the description if you're interested. For everybody watching, I hope you gained a lot of value out of this strategy. It's literally, I've gate-kept this strategy for over a year now. And I'm pretty excited that, I had the idea to leak it to you guys now, just to be able to help, that many more people make a lot more money with organic drop shipping.